course, they can get us all in debt to them. I don't want to go to the party. Yeah. I don't want to have a war with the cops, with the military, with anybody. You're just not shooting me up with cancer viruses or taking me to a FEMA camp. Don't tread on me. It's like, I'm not looking for trouble, but if you think you're going to walk all over me, it ain't happening.
My fear is that it's happening so slowly, nobody's paying attention. I mean,
they're putting Russian special forces into Syria, and they're battling U.S. special forces and NATO forces from NATO countries right now in Damascus.
As we speak?
Yeah, I mean, there were U.S. troops killed and mercenaries when they attacked the Russian-held enclave of South Ossetia and Abkhazia back in 2008.
I want you to say that a little faster. That was good.
Why?
Because it just sounds very hard to pronounce quickly. Sorry, not a funny topic. C4 Stay Away and Kathy, both users, kind of asked a similar question. They said, can you give some advice on how to most effectively introduce someone who's never given a thought to a world so turned upside down? Basically, where do you start? You know, people, you try to tell them something. What's a good way to kind of wake them up? I
shot a piece for the Nightly News that Aaron's about to do live in there. As we get up close to 7 here. That's why Jacobson's in there with my piece for the news, getting it ready right now.
Right, I saw you doing it earlier.
And I just went over the fact that, hey, the radiation was 5 to 8 times higher than they said. They ordered them to lie about it. We told you, you know, a year and 3-4 months ago when Fukushima happened, because there were scientists that went in with their own meters and said it. I mean, people were dying for the radiation. It was so high.
Yeah.
I mean, we know the type of reactors. We know their load. We know some completely melted down, bigger than Chernobyl. They lied.
Yeah.
And that stuff's blowing right at us. Now they admit the fish, everything. I mean, it's really hit Alaska hard, and it's causing a nightmare there. You know, it turns out that Joe Paterno, of course he knew it at Penn State about that.
I don't see how you couldn't. I mean,
the point is,
people lie.
Let me tell you, it's not just about knowing.
Yeah.
People are naive about how evil people crave power and crave getting into positions so they can get away with it all. That's what it's about. I mean, a normal person, you know, just wants to have a good, stable life and take care of their family and doesn't cheat on their wife or their husband because they're trying to be good people. A normal person doesn't cheat somebody in business because they want them to do good. And they've got pride in themselves that they do a good business and they work hard and they deserve the money they made. But more and more people think, no, you get ahead. That's stupid, you know, to not cheat on your family. That's stupid to not blah, blah, blah. But then it goes beyond that. These evil people like doing things that normal people don't even ever think about. And so good people are like blind to evil. We just can't believe something's actually happening.
You don't want to believe that, because if it does, it crumbles your whole reality.
Yeah, but our whole reality is going to crumble. See, there's always good running parallel to evil, and evil's supposed to be a little bitty piece of things, you know, in a healthy society. You want to try to get rid of all of it, but it's always going to be there. And then good's this big wide band, you know, the stream, and next to it's this evil river. Well, they told us there is no good and evil, joined that evil into the mainstream, and then infected it all where the whole stream's going dark. And now they're saying people that like freedom and don't trust big government, they're the bad ones. People that like the family, they're the bad ones. People that want to be honorable, they're just stupid schmucks. They don't know how to get ahead. And so they sell all these people that, you know, on being corrupt is the way to get ahead. So they get more and more corrupt, thinking, I would have got ahead if I'd have been more corrupt. Yeah. And pretty soon the business dries up, the society collapses. The globalists know this. They're imploding society so they can be in control of it. The way to do good in business is being honest and people being, you know, having a name they can trust you. The way to do good in life is to, you know, not live in the fast lane and be focused. But they sell people on, oh no, you're missing out because you're not doing this. You're missing out because, you know, you're not involved in all this. And this is what you call a fallen society. They gave us the disease of corruption and evil. Not that any of us are perfect. To where we don't even recognize what's good or bad anymore, so we could be brought down, so we could be spiritually blinded. And if atheists out there are offended by saying spiritual, whatever, basic discernment. Basic discernment, because you know what? I don't see the atheist out there confronting the eugenics and the globalists and the New World Order. I see you guys attacking us that stand up against it. And that's not fair to put you all in one basket. I also see most of the mainline churches Bible thumping and being a bunch of Pharisees up on the mountain saying they're better than everybody. All I know is the world's in a crisis. Great change is taking place. And you better be on the side of good, ladies and gentlemen, because going along with evil does not get you ahead.
All right, you asked how many questions we've got. 15? Can we make them fast, do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, this is from Robert. It's kind of an extension of the last question. It says, what woke you up? Is there a specific event?
No, it was a collection of things and just common sense. And then seeing police deal the drugs where I lived in Dallas, and then get on the news talking about how they were fighting drugs and use it to shake down people that were buying drugs that they didn't buy from them.
Supply and demand, I suppose. The next one's from George, and he says, Alex, I would really like to stop participating in the population reduction agent known as cigarettes. We touched on this, I think, the last portion too, but he asks what worked for you personally, just kind of a self-encouragement.
I've just got tired of feeling like crap. And I've quit smoking for 4 years, 2 years, 1 year. I mean, I kind of always gone off and on. And it always just starts with that cigarette at a bar, out having dinner with friends, and then, you're, buy a pack going home. And now it's been over a year since I've had one. And I just no more chewing tobacco, no more cigars, no more any of it. And I finally had that thing happen that happened a few other times where I quit for 4 years once, for 2 years another time. It stinks to me.
Yeah.
So something happened where it just clicked, and I realized this isn't just tobacco. They're putting all these additives and stuff in. So just decide. It's not like you're fighting to not want to do it. Mm-hmm. Just decide that you don't want to, die 20 years early, and you want to be there for your children.
Yeah. Well, I actually took it up a little bit in college, and my way of getting over it was every time I wanted a cigarette, I would go for a run. So I just got tired of running, so I didn't want a cigarette.
Well, that's what they say. They say you've got to replace bad habits with good.
Yeah, exactly. Make it like a conscious effort there. The next one is from I See the Future, and it says, Alex, have you noticed that right after the Supreme Court hands all this free money to Big Pharma, that all of a sudden Big Pharma will begin to settle out of court on many drugs and illegal practices that they've charged with your tax money, of course?
That's a good question. What was the first part?
The Supreme Court hands all the free money to Big Pharma, and then all of a sudden, Big Pharma turns around and...
Yeah, the Supreme Court took what Big Pharma wrote, and they bragged they did the healthcare plan, which is trillions of dollars over the next decade. And then, yes, now they're settling because it's just coming out. All their whistleblowers are coming out. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's really what's going on, is that the whistleblowers, it's so immoral what's happening. They're all coming out and speaking out. It's like in Europe and the U.S., it turned out for 20 years they've been setting and rigging the interest rates. Well, no kidding. To rip people off. They've made trillions conservatively. That's admitted. They're paying a $22 billion fine. So it's kind of like when they caught Wells Fargo and Wachovia laundering 300 plus billion in drug money a few years ago. It was in the news. They paid a $115 million fine. Well, if it was 376 billion, what is 100 million?
10% of that. I mean,
well, it's I think it came out to it was a very low percent. Yeah. I don't think it was 10%. In fact, I have to do the math again. I think it was like 3% or something, but I'm going from memory.
300 billion roughly?
Yeah.
So yeah. 3 billion is 1%. So what would you say it was a couple? Oh, man. It was
376 billion.
Okay.
People just type in banks laundered 376 billion. Bloomberg AP will come up. Okay. It's 376 billion, and they paid, I think it was 110 or 115 million. Just say 110 million fine.
Wow.
So what's that?
Well,
110 million divided into 376 billion.
Jesus, I don't even know. I can't even. I need a calculator.
The point is, well, we've done it.
It's a minuscule amount.
We've done it before.
Yeah, minuscule.
So the issue here is they've got a license to kill and steal. And so even if some of the crooks aren't totally evil, they're going to give way to even worse and worse people. That's how once corruption starts, it's a wedge, and they blow it open for everybody.
Yeah.
And then now the very worst of the worst are in there, like Stalin. They get more and more power, and no one can resist them anymore. And so whatever their darkest nightmare is, and all their servants' dreams are, that is turned loose. That sound fun?
No, absolutely not. It sounds horrific. The next one's from Hikes a Lot, and he says, Alex, will illegal aliens be exempt from paying for the new health care tax? But
yes, they've already announced they're exempt, and they're going to have it all free until the country's fully bankrupt. The job is bankrupt the country because they're loaning us all fiat money to begin with. They want real assets.
So then bankrupt the country, and I mean, Greece is already going through a bailout. Spain's going through a potential
3 or 4 bailouts. I mean, they always get more.
Stuff. Then if everybody's broke, then there's just this very, very, very elite, and that's it. Like,
who have written the laws
in prison?
where they're tax exempt with hundreds of trillions of dollars offshore.
Right.
And so then they can come back and buy it all up.
So essentially they just want everybody to collapse, and then they get to just have like America becomes their own personal island.
Yeah, just type in Boss Hog on banking in YouTube, and he'll explain it.
I want to watch that.
Boss Hog on banking. He's explaining it to Roscoe. And Roscoe's like, boss, why do you want to loan them money when they ain't got it to pay it back for the carnival? He goes, that's easy, Roscoe. What you do is you don't loan money to people when they don't have money. He says, you don't, that's what you think. No, you loan people money when they don't have it, because then you got the promissory note side and you get all their property. And then Roscoe's like, oh, that sounds good, boss. I'm not doing a very good imitation here because I'm tired. But
we'll just skip around all our movies here. That
wasn't the best imitation of...
It was good. It was good. I think it's good. I think they were going to close up on that one, too. Imagine asks you, what did you mean when you said, I should create another movie about 9/11? Is there something that would blow it even more open?
Well, I've made 4 films concerning the inside job that was 9/11, this catastrophic, catalyzing event meant to launch us into this new dark age of tyranny. In PNAC's own words, Dick Cheney and others' own words, a year before 9/11, they wrote about how they wanted a Pearl Harbor event to do all this false flag, just pure evil. They also talk about race-specific bioweapons they want to use to kill certain races of people. And that barely got any news coverage. Our local Austin paper thought it was horrific, wrote an article about it for people that want to look that up. You think I'm joking. But the PNAC document's public. The reason I would make a new 9/11 film now would be I would start it with just all the admitted governments, the Nazis, the Tsars, the communist Russians, Israel, the United States, England. They do it constantly. So from the USS Liberty to Operation Ajax in Iran, to the Gulf of Tonkin, to Operation Northwoods, right through, and then events that happened after 9/11. I would just look at all the other events in the first half of the film. And then I would look at how 9/11 changed our world, and then I would say, now here's the top 20 points of 9/11. Like I would do 9/11 at the end. Because people are like, well, why would you just say it's an inside job, even though there's the mode of the police at the takeover? But the fact is just hard-hitting with all these historians and proof and documents. Okay, here's 20 false flags our government and other governments did. And here's how our world changed and how they used it, and how they're now saying it isn't al-Qaeda, it's people that don't like big government or the terrorists, and returning veterans. And then, oh, they're funding al-Qaeda in Syria and Libya, and you know, show that history. And show how our world has changed. And then go, do you now want me to show you why 9/11 is an inside job? Okay, I will. Not just who's got a motive, who's got a history of it, but here's 20 points. And by the way, sit there with just a list.
That'd be awesome.
Showing, maybe have an extra that's like 2 hours with another 100 points.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's the problem with 9/11, is that it is ridiculous how out in the open this is. That's what's frustrating.
That'd be fun. I can't wait. Extras. This next one actually was the One You Not. And it says, hello, Alex. There's a YouTuber that shows the visual proof that the paintings from Michelangelo and others in the 1600s did not simply paint images of God, but rather the nebulous structures that exist within the Orion Nebula. He provides so many examples that it's pretty arguable that the ancient people of the world knew, as David Icke says, the true nature of consciousness. So what are your thoughts on any of that?
Certainly, ancient cultures know a lot more than they're given credit for. Certainly, the pyramids weren't built the way we were told. The Dogon tribe, all these different tribes had knowledge of star systems that were way further out. I don't know is the answer. I've got documents admitting they've got plans for forced inoculation. People say, oh, that's your opinion. I interviewed all the top admirals who heard the call from LBJ